Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping headfirst into native English communication. We're going to look at the whole spectrum.
The whole thing.
Yeah, everything from those really casual, unfiltered chats you have with friends all the way to the other end.
The super structured, very careful, professional emails and meetings.
Exactly.
And our mission really is to give you the tools to navigate both. Because we hear this all the time. Students say, I can understand my teacher perfectly.
Right.
But then I listen to real people talking as we would in the kitchen, and they just get completely lost.
And that's the thing, isn't it? That's the problem we're trying to solve, because in that casual mode, we just don't try to be clear.
Not at all. Speed is more important. Connection is more important.
So we're going to unpack what makes that real life chat so hard, and then flip it and look at the very deliberate rules of the workplace.
We should probably start with the really unscripted stuff. We found this great source, just two native speakers answering totally random questions. It gives you a raw look at how fast things move.
Okay, let's get into that. The first thing that jumped out at me was this whole discussion on tipping culture.
Oh, yeah.
Because it immediately showed this huge gap between the UK and the US, or the States, as they kept calling it.
Right. So in the UK, the source says tipping it's not a routine thing. It's for genuinely exceptional service.
Or you might just round up the bill.
Exactly. They gave that example of, a 73-pound bill becomes 80 pounds. It's a nice gesture. It's not an obligation.
But then they talk about going to the US and suddenly it's everywhere. The example that got me was the buffet.
The buffet, I know.
You serve yourself, you get your own food, but the waiter still brings the machine over and expects a tip.
And that little observation led to a much bigger critique right in the middle of this casual chat. They made the point that in America, servers get paid, and I'm quoting here, pittance, because the whole system is built on them getting tips.
And their frustration was that this puts all the financial stress on the customer. It's you, the customer, who has to subsidize the wage, not the employer.
Which is a pretty heavy economic point to just drop into a random conversation.
It shows how native speakers can just blend these big topics with, lighter stuff without even thinking about it, and then boom, they just pivoted.
Instantly. A complete change of subject.
From tipping to inventions that should exist but don't.
It was a lightning fast shift. From economics to school rules. And the big invention they wanted.
Strict rules.
Strict nationwide rules banning cell phones completely in high schools.
And this is where you could really hear the anxiety of future parenting coming through.
Oh, absolutely.
The speaker was worried about trying to keep their own kids off technology until they're, say, 15.
Which is a noble goal.
But then they stressed that other kids will just ruin it, because their kids will see the technology from their friends way earlier.
And that line, that other kids are the worst thing that happens, is such a perfect piece of social insight.
It's so true.
Because it's the one thing you can't control as a parent, that peer pressure.
To make the point, they told this great little story, this anecdote about having an old teeny-weeny phone at school.
Hidden in a pencil case.
Yeah, with the headphones plugged in.
Yeah.
And the math teacher only caught them because the music started playing, just faintly from inside the case.
It's those little details, those cultural references that are so important. Like playing Simpsons chess.
I love that. Homer was the king, Marge is the queen.
And because of that, the speaker said they still don't know the real names for the pieces.
Or the description of going well off bacon. Just completely put off it because of one bad, fatty, floppy sandwich that was a little bit wet. These are the kinds of specific, sometimes silly things that fill up real conversation. But this brings us to the main problem. Why is it so hard to follow this stuff?
And this is where we need to get into the mechanics of the language. There are basically three reasons. First one's obvious. Speed.
We just talk fast.
We talk fast when we're comfortable. We only really slow down for a formal presentation or if we're trying to make a good impression.
And that speed is possible because of the second reason, which is much more than just being lazy. It's connected speech.
Exactly. We have to get rid of that idea of laziness. It's not lazy, it's efficient. Connected speech is just sounds changing or linking up when words crash into each other at high speed.
Okay, so break that down for us. What are the classic examples?
Well, take linking. If I say want to, I'm not going to say want to.
No one says that.
Right. The sounds just merge together. It becomes wanna. Same thing with going to becoming gonna.
Well, let me becomes lummy.
Yep. It's just easier for your mouth. It saves effort. But the deletions, The deletions are what really confuse people because a sound you expect to hear just isn't there.
It vanishes.
It's gone, like dropping the final G on verbs. Going becomes goin', doing becomes doing.
Okay.
Or we delete the V sound in the word of. So cup of coffee becomes cup of coffee.
Right, cup of coffee. I say that all the time.
And a really crucial one is dropping the H in pronouns. So did you see him becomes did you see him?
And if your brain is waiting for that H sound,
It's too late.
the speaker is already 3 sentences ahead of you.
Exactly. And that leads right into the third reason, vocabulary gaps. If you hear one word you don't know, you stop. Your brain gets stuck on it for a second.
And that second is fatal.
It is. You lose track of the conversation because it just doesn't wait for you.
So we've got the challenge, speed, connected sounds, and a pace that just doesn't stop. What's the strategy? How do you train your brain for this?
The best advice from the sources is just consistent exposure. Specifically, listening to English audio with English subtitles on.
So you see the word and hear the sound at the same time.
Yes, you're training your brain to connect that fast, mumbled link sound that you hear with the actual word you're reading. You're bridging the gap.
Okay, so that's the casual world. It's all about minimizing effort to maximize speed.
Pretty much.
So now let's shift gears. Let's go to the professional world, which does the opposite. It maximizes effort to minimize any chance of confusion.
Right. We're out of the kitchen and into the office. And here, clarity and politeness are everything. Efficiency isn't about speed. It's about getting what you want without causing problems.
Let's start with emails. The rules here feel pretty strict.
They are.
For greetings, it's basically hi name. That seems to be the standard for everyday stuff.
It's friendly, but professional. But then you have dear name, which is much more formal. You'd say that for, your boss's boss or a new client. It signals respect.
And you can't just jump in. You have to start with that polite opening line. I hope you are well.
Or, I hope you're doing well. It's not just about being nice. It's like a cultural buffer. It sets a non-aggressive tone before you ask for something.
Which brings us to the magic phrase for asking. The difference between sounding like a colleague and sounding like a boss.
You never, ever just say, send me the file.
No.
You have to soften it. It has to be a question, could you please, or would you mind? It gives the other person a sense of choice, even if they don't really have one.
And with attachments, the phrasing is also very specific.
Right. You don't say, I send you the file. It just sounds a bit off. The standard business phrase is, please find attached the report.
Or I've attached the file.
Yes, attached is the key word. And for closing, thanks is fine with people you know, but if in doubt, kind regards is always the safe, formal option.
Okay, what about that awkward few minutes before a meeting starts? The small talk.
Ah, yes. The social dance. You need safe topic.
Super safe.
How was your weekend? Is the classic. Or, how's your day going?
And the answers are always the same, right? Pretty good, not bad.
Or my personal favorite, busy but good.
That one says so much.
It does. And the key is you have to ask back, how about you? Or you can pivot to work, yeah, I'm working on the new report today. You just have to fill the silence.
Let's talk about the meeting itself. It has its own language, its own jargon.
It really does. Starting is easy. Let's get started. Finishing is also clear. Okay, let's wrap up.
When you're giving an update, you need to sound like you're in control.
Use strong verbs. I completed the report. I plan to review it. A good way to start is, I have an update on the project plan.
And what if there's a problem?
You can't just say there's a problem. You have to present the solution at the same time.
So instead of, the file is broken?
You say, I faced a small issue with the data file, but I'm already working on a fix. It's solution-oriented.
And disagreement has to be so polite.
Always. You have to validate them first. I see your point, but, or, that's a good idea, however. You cushion the disagreement.
Okay, let's quickly define some of that jargon. Action items.
Just tasks. It's the to-do list after the meeting.
A quick sync.
A short meeting, just to make sure everyone is caught up.
And the ultimate goal, being on the same page.
Which just means everyone understands the same thing. Everyone agrees on the next steps. It's essential vocabulary for the office.
So now I want to try and weave all of this together because, amazingly, in that casual conversation source, they suddenly got really philosophical.
They did, yeah.
They started talking about the characteristics of an ideal human. And these traits are actually the skills you need to survive in this world of information overload.
A great point. And the first one they mentioned was critical thinking.
The ability to see something like a social media headline and not just instantly accept it, to not just go, okay,
And they tied this to something bigger. They said that horrible people can manipulate and control people who don't take that extra second to research and think for themselves.
Right.
Which brings us back to our earlier point about speed. The source suggested that in the past you might read something and then just sit there.
At a train station, maybe?
Yeah, with nothing to do. And you'd actually think about it. You process it.
But now we don't give ourselves that time. It's just in, out, we consume it and move on. No time for digestion.
None. The second characteristic they brought up was empathy.
Knowing how to act around other people, basically asking yourself, how would I feel if that was being done to me?
And they argued that real empathy can stop bad things from happening.
Yeah.
Because you just can't bring yourself to do something awful if you truly feel its impact on others.
And the third one was passion. Just be passionate about something.
I loved that quote. Even if it's like cake, just be passionate about something.
It's true. They said it's frustrating when you meet people who have no favorite things, no real interests.
So we've seen this whole landscape, from the super fast, sound-deleting world of a casual chat
to the very polite, careful, rule-based world of the office.
And to succeed in either one, you need these deeper skills.
Yeah.
You need critical thought, you need empathy, you need focused attention.
And on that point of attention, the takeaway from the casual chat was pretty clear. Social media is less productive than almost anything else you could be doing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Reading a book, cleaning your house, going for a walk, all give you a better return on your time than the, 15 plus hours a week many people spend scrolling. The value just isn't there.
Which leads us to a final thought for you to take away. We heard that humans are still getting used to having these crazy things, our phones in our hands all the time.
But there might be a backlash coming.
Maybe. A generation might just decide, I can't do this anymore, and start looking for those retro, just texty phones so they can actually detach.
So if the ability to think critically depends on having time to be bored, on having time to reflect, like sitting at that train station with nothing to do, what ideas are you missing out on? What connections is your brain not making because every single quiet moment is filled with an app? We'd encourage you to find some time this week to just sit and think.